that we make it.
Though we have all traveled many uncertain roads, we have always recognized something wasn't right. We searched high and low, yet our paths had never intersected. Our desire to seek truth, then to speak true, has brought us all together. That thing of ours is rooted in truth, because truth is the only unshakable foundation. In the greatest book, it states in John 8:32, "For ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free."
Truth is a powerful force. It is the foundation on which all great achievements are built, and the bedrock of trust and respect in any relationship. When we are rooted in truth, we can be confident that our decisions and actions are grounded in reality rather than in speculation or wishful thinking.
The pursuit of truth is not always easy. It requires courage, perseverance, and a willingness to face uncomfortable facts. But in the end, the truth is always worth it. It allows us to make better decisions, to build stronger relationships, and to create a more just and equitable world.
From politics and world events to entertainment and pop culture, we've got you covered. We'll explore our history and the stories that matter to uncover the truth that lies at the heart of each one. With our fingers on the pulse of the news cycle, we'll provide the insights and analysis you need to stay informed and engaged. As we stay rooted in truth and let the truth guide us in all that we do, let us be willing to listen, to learn, and seek out the facts, even when they challenge our own assumption or belief.
Let us never forget that the pursuit of truth is not just an individual endeavor, but a collective one. Only by working together
With honesty and integrity,
can we build a better future for ourselves
And for generations to come.
This is That Thing of Ours. How's it going, everybody? Thank you for joining us today on this Thursday, 6th of January, 2025. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for joining us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X, Rumble, and Pill.net.
and if you haven't already, please take a minute and give us that virtual hug on Rumble or YouTube. Hit that thumbs up. If you're over on pill.net, take that red pill. If you're over on X, smash that heart. If you're over on Facebook, you have like 7 choices. So go over there and clickety-click away.
Push buttons, trying to keep up with all the people coming in and everything. Anyways, all right. Hope everybody's having a good day. We're almost done with another week. Whoop, whoop. And yeah, just things keep on happening. It's a great time to be alive. Boy, we do live in interesting times. The left is an absolute meltdown. They have no idea how to take any of this stuff. They've gone to fighting for government waste and fraud and abuse because they're defending it more and more every day. It's wild. I mean, at least the Democrats once upon a time used to pretend like they were against this kind of, waste and abuse of the funds of the people. But man, have they just gone full bore into defending every wasted dollar that the budget, that the federal government has just been setting on fire. It's such an amazing show we're watching. It's something else. Anyways, so let's get to it.
Got F. Clint in the house.
Yo, F. Clint, what's going on, man?
Got Liberty in the house.
Welcome back, Liberty to Death.
Got
Dawn
in the house.
Hey, Dawn.
Got Mike in the house.
Hey, Mike, what's going on, man? Good to see you.
Got Brother Bill in the house.
What's up, Brother Bill? And let's see.
Got Chachi in the house.
Hey, Chachi. And then Steph, too.
Yep, there's Miss Steph.
There's Steph. Hey, Steph. Okay, you got that. Never mind. All right. Good deal. So, and then people keep on strolling in, I'm sure about that.
I'm sure.
Yeah. So, well, why don't we just dive right into it?
Okay. You ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you read that, please?
Maybe. I need a monocle. Karoline Leavitt calls out Democrat hypocritical and violent rhetoric.
Let's listen.
Needs to be.
If you heard that type of violent, enticing rhetoric from our side of the aisle, from Republican leaders on Capitol Hill, I think there would be a lot more outrage in this room today. It's unacceptable, the comments that have been made by these Democrat leaders. And frankly, they don't even know what they're talking about, because President Trump was elected with a mandate from the American people to make this government more efficient. He campaigned across this country with Elon Musk, vowing that Elon was going to head up the Department of Government Efficiency, and the two of them, with a great team around them, were going to look at the receipts of this federal government and ensure it's accountable to American taxpayers. That's all that is happening here. And for Democrat officials to incite violence and encourage Americans to take to the streets is incredibly alarming, and they should be held accountable for that rhetoric.
Thoughts?
I mean, it's about time somebody called them out on their madness. They've been doing this forever and a day. I mean, Mad Maxine Waters, the crap that she was saying back, during the whole Rona everything was absolutely absurd. And it wasn't just Rona, it was anything that had to do with President Trump. Of course, then again, Mad Max has always known that President Trump was a big threat to her. I guess her little antenna are up and let her know that, yeah, there's a problem for her in this scenario. So, yeah. All right.
You ready?
Yeah.
I was just answering Liberty. Yes,
Oh,
it
okay.
is Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m.
6 Mountain.
Pacific.
Yep. Monday through Friday.
Monday through Friday.
Show enough.
You ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can you read this, please?
If you'll put it up. There we go. All right. Steve Hilton says Commiefornia Democrats are showing who they really care about.
Let's listen.
Mm-hmm.
It's just amazing. I mean, just on the face of it, the idiocy of what we're seeing here. You see in some of the video that's been circulating of these protests, you've got people blocking the freeways, breaking the law, holding up signs saying, "We are not criminals." Yes, you are. You're literally engaging in criminal activity even as you say that. But there's a deeper point here, because you've got all the Democrat politicians in California lining up behind these protests, reasserting their sanctuary city status and sanctuary state policies and all the rest of it. What they're doing then is telling Californians where they really stand and who they're for. If you're a regular Californian and you're struggling under the burden of the highest taxes in the country, the highest electricity costs, the highest gas prices, highest housing costs, highest everything, the Democrats in charge, they don't care about you. They just see you as a piggy bank for their far left schemes. The energy that they're putting in to fight all this that's coming out of the White House shows you who they really care about, which is the people who are here illegally. That is an insult to every hardworking Californian.
Thoughts?
Well, without a doubt, California has so many struggles, and there's tons and tons of great Californians out there. I get that, even though I get frustrated with them because they ruin Nevada. But that's another story altogether. But this is what Californians have had to put up with, and they haven't really had a say. They've been paying all their taxes, but they certainly haven't had any representation in terms of how they really feel, because there's so many people that, even on the left, they disagree with illegal immigration. They have no problem with immigration. Obviously, very few, if any, Americans should have a problem with legal immigration. So what's really the issue here? And why do they want people to come across the border illegally? What is so important about coming across the border illegally? Is that some kind of rite of passage that my family wasn't informed of when we came over here legally through Ellis Island? And it's not like Ellis Island was some kind of, fairy tale land or something like that. It is just a bit much. Anyway, so yeah.
They just think they're better than everyone else.
Who?
The people that are coming across now.
I guess. Well, they feel like it's their land because back in the 1800s, once upon a time, when the country of Mexico or Spain wasn't really doing anything with it. So what's the real deal here? What's really going on? Is it truly an attempt to take back the western half of the United States?
I don't know.
Well, that then becomes an invasion and you're invaders. So that's not really a good excuse. So what are we really doing over here that we're supporting these people? And I have a feeling that that's really where a lot of this comes from. And a lot of these people are paid, but they're probably going to have a little bit less money moving forward in the future because organizations like USAID don't have the funding anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Can you read that, please?
Yes. Maybe. Katie Hopkins says America is winning so hard it hurts.
Let's listen.
All right.
Okay, you've got batshit bonkers Britain. I thought we'd give it a go for amazing America. because America is winning so hard right now. First up, Trump gets rid of men in women's sport. He rips up all of the trans nonsense and says no more. Only biological females can compete against biological females. And there's this gorgeous picture of him surrounded by young girls who will now have the opportunity to compete in a fair manner against each other in sport, which is just glorious to see. In other news, America will not be attending the G20 because they are no longer willing to do the performative politics of going along with the agenda that's being laid out. And until white people stop being targeted by black gangs in South Africa and having their land taken from them, expropriation without compensation, America will not participate in the G20. This is precisely the kind of action that we need. And America has pulled out of the World Health Organization. Without American money, it can't function. And now over in Argentina, the gorgeous Milei says he's going to pull as well. America is winning so hard, it hurts. It is amazing America.
Todd.
I'll tell you what, it's amazing that a British woman has done so well touting what America is doing to
I
try to
know.
bring itself back.
Mhm.
So kudos to her. And I hope we can make Britain great again.
Mhm.
Yeah, that would be nice too if y'all could get back to y'all's roots as well. But we got to work with ourselves first, but eventually we'll get there. So I think it's a great thing that President Trump is pointing out the things that have been hidden for so long. This has been going on for a long time in South Africa, where there's been this reciprocity against the white people that are there, as if every white person was enforcing apartheid as it was before. And so now they're going to take it out a whole bunch of people that probably didn't have anything to do with it. So disappointing, but the highlights need to be made. And why do the highlights need to be made? Because it's about everybody having a chance to live peacefully in the land that they're in, at the very least.
Mhm.
I understand history is history, and history has some dark corners to it. And when history's written about this time frame, it's going to be real interesting with the kids after there be, kids will be like, oh my God, that's what they did. And it's like, well, sadly, yeah. But this is how we get out of it. It's going to ruffle some feathers, and Lord knows there's a lot of ruffled feathers. But eventually it'll get fixed.
Yeah.
Got to speak the truth. Otherwise, it can never be addressed. And if it can never be addressed, it can never be changed. Let's see. Brother Bill says several great grandfathers back fought in the Continental Army. America. Yes, got Cherokee and Choctaw. So you're half Cherokee and Choctaw? Are you an Indian outlaw, sir? Anyways.
Hey, Angie.
Hey, Hope.
You ready?
Yeah.
Can you read that, please?
Here's President Trump surrounded by children with 0 heads sniffled. What?
Sniffed.
0 creepy comments made.
Let's listen.
What a surprise.
I know.
You want to do this? Watch what I do, and then I'm going to give you some pens, okay? You ready? What a nice picture this is, huh, Governor? You ready? We'll do a good job. Wait, let me press that. I want to make this a really good signature because this is a big one, right? Oh, I think we have a 10. We have a 10.
God bless you, Mr. President.
Pretty good, huh? I see that. Okay, good. Now you're going to go out and win those events, right? Nice to see you all. Nice. Great going, everybody. Nice to see you. Thank you, kids. Here, take a pen. Thank you. I'll give some of these out, okay? Take a pen. Take a pen.
Thank you so much.
Where's
Hey, Aaron, you lurk and work away.
Yeah, lurk and work away, sir. So President Trump not sniffing the children. What a nice change.
I know.
So much less cringe, so much more focused on what the president's supposed to be doing and he seems to be doing it, and it's a beautiful thing. That was the one keeping the transgenders out of sports. And I just got notified a little bit earlier today about NCAA bans trans athletes from women's sports after Trump's executive orders. So yeah, now the NCAA is playing along. I think that's fantastic. That's great. And now they get to keep their funding. Isn't that great? Win-win for everybody, except
Win-win.
for very few people. But that's all right. We'll work on their mental health and we'll move on from there.
Right? You ready?
Yes.
Let's listen.
All right.
But what God is offering is this certain hope. And he references as an anchor for the soul. We're talking about something different here because it's based on a God promise, and a God promise is always true. It's something you can, even though it's an idea of hope of things that may not necessarily have happened, it is a guarantee because of the one who made it. Even though, like to Zach's point, you don't understand exactly how it's going to happen, but you can guarantee it. Well, that's something totally different. And that's what separates the hope that we participate in on anything that the world has to offer.
Thoughts?
All right. So the promises that God gives us, those it's don't necessarily know how it's going to happen, but we know that those promises will always be kept. And it's kind of what makes the whole world work. And so many people are blind to see that. And then they get mad that things don't go their way because they're not really doing things the way they should. Well, that's okay. I mean, it's still going to go around, and God's promises are shown to be true all the time. It's just whether or not we choose to believe or see them.
There is that. And
Yes, please.
as long as we continue to remember that he is always there for us and his
100%.
promises are never going to change.
They've always been kept, and they always will be. It's one of the very few absolutes that we can absolutely use absolutely all of the time.
Yes.
And that is that his promises will be kept.
Always, without fail.
There you go.
Hey, Randoon.
Hey, Randoon. What's
You
going
ready?
on? Yeah.
Can you read that, please?
All right. Glenn Beck has been ringing alarm bells since his days at Fox News. Yes, he has.
Let's listen.
Mhm.
I have a picture here of an Al Qaeda leader, and they are in a USAID tent. Look who signed the check for the initial $200,000 payment to the Islamic Relief Agency, the United States Agency for International Development. The more you look into USAID, the more shocked you will become. USAID was running a top secret espionage program to undermine Cuba and push people to dissent. Now, let me show you how much money we're talking about. It included $1 billion sovereign loan guarantee, $320 million in general assistance. So where else beside the NIH has money been coming from? By far, the largest donors are from USAID and the Department of Defense. Judicial Watch found that the U.S. State Department and USAID had been giving millions to the Macedonian arm of George Soros's Open Society Foundation. What for? To train youth movements.
So USAID, and those are always, they're known by anybody who pays attention as CIA fronts. This is, the USAID comes into a country, they start doing things, and next thing you know, we've got a revolution on our hands because that's the CIA.
Thoughts?
So Glenn Beck has been spitting some truth for a very, very long time. And he was able to see things going down long before so many people were ever talking about it. And he's been out there. And I know a lot of people aren't particularly keen on Glenn Beck, but his love of this country is overriding any of that other stuff for me. I know people take objection to his faith. Again, not worried about his faith, but he does have faith in this country and the Constitution, and he's been sounding the alarm for so long. He got canned from CNN. He got canned from Fox. He decided to go start his own media company. He went through some real medical problems, and here he is still telling people the things that are going on, and I'm happy to see it. And thank God, that we have a president that's there, following through with the very things that he was pointing out a long time ago. Not that, it wasn't already known, just now that something can finally be done about it, we can all rejoice in that.
Well, and the thing is, he can
Bill.
he can have his own freaking faith and everything else, as long as he's just telling the truth and he cares about our country. That's what I care about.
Yeah. Bill says CIA better take the buyout offer, or they'll wind up in Gitmo instead. The whole buyout thing, there's a lot going around that. Even the Government Accountability Office said, don't believe the misinformation. Basically, it's a solid deal. Whereas a lot of the people in the Democratic Party have been the elected representatives have been saying, don't take it. It's a trap or whatever it is, trying to keep people from doing that. They're actually screwing their own people over. If these people think that they don't have to go back into the office, they're in for a rude awakening, especially when they could have taken the early buyout.
Exactly. We'll see what happens.
We shall see.
You ready?
All right. Yes.
Can you read that, please?
All right. Flashback to RFK Jr. explaining how the water turned the frogs into trannies.
Let's listen.
Turn the freaking frogs gay.
There's a chemical now, the second most used chemical in this country, pesticide in this country, is atrazine. It's banned in Europe, banned all over the world, but we use it here. It's in 63% of our drinking water. There's a famous African-American scientist named Tyler Hayes, who's at the University of Berkeley. He did a famous experiment that anybody can look up on the internet. He put 70 African water frogs in an aquarium. He put atrazine in the water of that aquarium that was less than EPA's level. So it's less than the levels we have in 63% of our water supply. 60 of those frogs became sterile. They're all male frogs. 60 became sterile. 10% of those frogs turned female, and they were able to produce fertile eggs. So it changed their sex. And of course, normally, when you see something like that in an animal model, the first thing you want to do is test it in a mammalian model and then a human model. Those tests were never done. So we don't know what impact it's having on our children, if any.
Thoughts?
All right. So they're turning the freaking frogs gay. I mean, something we've heard about. Of course, then again, the press made all sorts of humorous jokes about Alex Jones, and as they're turning the freaking frogs gay, made him sound like he was an absolute lunatic. Of course, then again, the way he rants and raves doesn't help out his case very much sometimes, despite the fact that he has every right to be angry. But neither here nor there. Thing is it's been said they are doing all sorts of ridiculous experiments, not just turning frogs gay, but seeing what gets sunfish more drunk, vodka or tequila. It's all wastes of money. And what is the value add of the knowledge of any of this shit? And I think that should be something that they should most certainly tell us. If there's some real value to finding out what turns the frogs gay, then we need to you're going to have to explain it to us, because I mean, you're so educated and so much smarter than the rest of us. You're going to have to break it down Barney style. I don't know, get some little sock puppets and tell us that away. Maybe, maybe that'll help. But I just don't see how we can, what gets sunfish more drunk, is a valid concern of any human being, because, well, nobody's pouring that much tequila or vodka into the ocean.
No.
Brother Bill says you can put money on it that shit's in our food too. Oh, that the chemicals, the chemicals from what they were turning the frogs gay with. Yeah, they're putting it in our food. I would venture a guess that maybe that has something to do with all this trans love that we have nowadays. It is certainly affecting people's minds, but all you have to do is look at all the stuff that's in the water. I mean, for instance, here in Nevada, in Las Vegas, look up the water and the studies and the tests that are done in it. The hexavalent chromium, the whole thing that the Aaron Brockovich movie came about. Yeah, it's in our water. It's in our tap water. We're supposed to be happy about this? No. So it wouldn't surprise me if they're putting some of that crap in the water. And of course, they'll blame it on, fertilizers or whatever, as if we wanted these fertilizers with your fake food anyways. Just throwing that out there. Yeah, stop turning the frogs gay. Exactly, Chachi. F. Clint says, makes you want to open your cable box to look for the camera he was going on about 20 years ago. I mean, we already know they're spying on us. We carry it around with us, a little spy device. It's very handy, very easy for them. Randoon says, gives a frog in your throat a new meaning. Oh, man, don't do that.
You ready?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Can you read that, please?
Truth bombs for illegal aliens from Alexandra Lains.
Let's listen.
All right.
We have to talk because you're essentially pissing me off. The thousands of you flooding the streets, demanding illegals get some sort of free pass. You do understand that every country has borders, laws, and consequences, right? Because you look ridiculous protesting in America while waving the flag of another country. There's not a single American flag in those crowds except for the ones that you were burning. You are burning the flag of a country that you or your family illegally entered and you want to stay in. But you're waving the flag of the country you fled from and don't want to get deported back to. Shouting Viva Mexico, but don't want to Viva in Mexico. Go figure. You guys have been spoiled for years. Gallivanting across the border, essentially a warm welcome, free food, free housing, free healthcare. And in return, while lacking gratitude, you shut down our highways, demand open borders, and burn our flag. This is like the equivalent to an uninvited guest that shows up at your house, eats all your food, and then punches you in the face on the way out the door, except you guys aren't actually leaving. America has immigration laws. And just like every other nation, we will enforce those laws. It's not outlandish to expect people to follow the same legal process that millions of immigrants before them respected. And if you can't, there's the door.
Thoughts?
I mean, it's the way we all pretty much feel. It's a great way to put it. But this is an invading army. And the people who are supporting this because they think it's, kind of fun, like the college idiots supporting the Palestinian movement, in all essence, supporting terrorist organizations, unknowingly, of course, the whole movement is based in the terrorist organization. So whether or not people think it's fun and cute and that they're supporting their heritage or anything like that, it's not wise. It's not wise because in the end, you're going to get wrapped up in it. And despite the fact that you're an American citizen, as you go against the will of the people, you actually make yourself an enemy of the state. And there's nothing, it's just me merely pointing out what is, it is the facts. And you are acting as an enemy of the state. And that is not a good thing, especially not in this instance, because you're not supporting the state itself that is corruptly going after the people of this country. You are going after the country that is trying to prevent an invading army from coming in. Therefore, you are de facto an enemy combatant, especially when there are terrorist organizations associated with this, therefore making yourself an associate of terrorists. Sounds like a dumb idea. So if you are a citizen and you think it's cute and funny, I'm going to go out and say right about now that you probably want to reconsider because you don't understand the gravity of the situation as to everything that's going on. This is a house cleaning of a nation that has been corrupted by a very small group of people that is organizing people from all over the world and taking advantage of the useful idiots that the socialists love to call you people, and they're using you to their own device, which in the end will take down your entire group of friends. And that's not a good situation for anybody. So recognize the difference of where you're from. And if you really Viva Mexico, go to Mexico and Viva there, just like the young lady said.
Yeah.
Yep. Smart young lady.
Yep.
Hey, JD, thanks for joining.
You ready?
Yeah.
Can you read that, please?
Rob Schneider has a short message for Elon Musk.
Let's listen.
We should.
Elon Musk, I have this to say to you on behalf of the American people. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's been incredible. We really appreciate it. Keep going. You can do it.
You can do it.
Thoughts?
So I know that people are the left is going after and they're talking about firing Elon Musk as if they're going to have the kind of support in the House or the Senate to actually make that go through. I don't think that that's going to happen, but I know that that's part of the rhetoric because really that's all they have right now is to make it scary and sound like they have some kind of power left, but they're really, despite all the rage, they're just rats in a cage. So with that being said, yes, Elon Musk, you have the mandate of the people. And as you expose these trillions of dollars of waste, I know that it will make our budget great again. And I think that that's what we really wanted. People on the left or the right, we have all been able to rally around the reduction of waste in our government. So yeah, keep on going, Elon. We support you in any way we can.
You ready?
Yeah.
Let's listen.
All right.
God is saying to you today, everything is possible for the one who believes. Right now, in this moment, I see your doubts, your fears, and the obstacles that seem too big to overcome. But I am reminding you, faith opens the door to the impossible. What looks impossible to you is possible with me. You don't have to figure it all out. You don't have to have all the answers. Just believe. Believe that I am working in your life. Believe that I am making a way where there seems to be none. When you trust me, mountains will move, doors will open, and breakthroughs will come. I am greater than your limitations, and I am stronger than your fears. Let go of doubt and hold on to faith. I am leading you, strengthening you, and preparing you for greater things. Don't be afraid to step forward, because with me, nothing is impossible. You are not alone. You are not without hope. Keep believing, because I am faithful to fulfill my promises. Type I believe and share.
Thoughts?
All right, Mark.
Hey, Silver.
Hey, Silver, thanks for joining. Let's see. Mark chapter 9, verse 23 says, if you can believe, all things are possible to him who believes. And a lot of us have had to use a lot of belief and faith that President Trump was going to be elected, despite the enormous mountain that needed to be climbed in order to get President Trump there. But the hearts of the American people has changed. And all of this was done by belief and an active, like going out there and communicating the things to everybody that it needed to be communicated to. And we also had help with the left being as ridiculous as they have been, because it helped wake people up as well. So it is that faith, and we don't know how things can happen, but we do know that if we believe, then anything is possible. With God, all things are possible. And that the start to that is the belief that he can make that happen.
Absolutely. You ready?
Yeah.
Let's listen.
All righty.
The Bible says in Isaiah 43:18, forget the former things, do not dwell on the past. You can't go back to the past, but you can begin where you are right now and change the ending of your story. This verse serves as a powerful reminder that God is calling you to let go of what has been, to stop living in the shadow of yesterday, and to embrace the new beginning he has for you. Even if the path ahead seems unclear, take the first step. Trust in God's guidance, knowing he will walk with you through every twist and turn. With each obstacle you encounter, he is molding you into the person he created you to be, stronger, wiser, and more aligned with his purpose. The challenges in your life are not meant to defeat you. They are opportunities for growth, stepping stones that build your faith, courage, and resilience. God's plans for you are far greater than anything you could envision, and his timing is always perfect. So don't lose hope, even when the journey feels uncertain. He is at work behind the scenes, preparing a future filled with blessings and purpose. Trust in him with every step you take, and let go of the things holding you back. The story isn't over. God is still writing it. Thank God for his unfailing love and grace. And if this message speaks to your heart, type A.
Thoughts?
All right. Isaiah chapter 43, verse 18 says, do not remember the former things or consider the things of old. So it is about forgetting about the things of the past. It's just like Lot's wife. Sadly, we don't even know her name. All we know is that she's Lot's wife. And she was looking at the former things, and that's what she was focused on. And so she turned to his pillar of salt. Now, it could be very real, but at the same time, the allegory that's behind that also speaks volumes. We can get pretty salty when we think about all of the bad things. You know what they did to me kind of stuff. I mean, when you start
Get away from me before they come back and do it again.
By the way, if y'all ever listen to oh God,
Les Brown.
Anyways, yeah, if y'all ever listen to Les Brown, you'll hear some of the quote. We use the quotes because he was a great motivational speaker. I haven't seen him in a while, but certainly helped us when we were in negative times. And that's kind of part of it too, now that I think about it, because even then I was trying to get myself out of that very, very low vibrational frequency. And I had to listen to motivational speakers to help me see, what I needed to change about my life. And I used to be very worried about, oh, well, this happened and that happened. If these things would have been different, then my whole life could have been blah, 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 blah. Had it all figured out inside my head, as opposed to recognizing, hey, stop worrying about the past and focus on the present. Recognize that things are bad and you need to, pick yourself up. You need to, get a move on in terms of making your life better. But if you're sitting there worried about everything in the past, all you can be is salty because it's going to color the way you see everything in your present. So forget about the past and forget about the things that you don't like about life. It's imperative that you focus on what is good and what you expect your life to be. So that way you can get yourself out of the things, the way things were or maybe are.
Exactly. Because if we continuously look in the rearview mirror, we're going to miss what's right in front of our face.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yep.
You ready?
Yep. Let's go.
Can you read that, please?
Yes. Let's see. Natalie Winters says the secrecy of the USAID grant database is by design.
Let's listen.
Mm-hmm. We should.
The problem is systemic in the sense that all the American people get to understand about the billions, if not trillions of taxpayer dollars that we are hemorrhaging to these foreign countries or these US-based NGOs is like the start date, the end date, and maybe 50-word summary and who it's going to. And the summary is typically something along the lines of countering disinformation. And the group that it's going to, sometimes it's an undisclosed foreign recipient or undisclosed domestic recipient, and there's nothing we can do to understand who that money's going to. But more precisely, and this was reporting that Raheem Kassam and I had sit over at the National Pulse years ago, we had looked up on Google Maps dozens of the addresses of the so-called, fact-checking grant recipients or the misinformation grant recipients. They're shacks on the side of the road. They're non-existent entities. It is clean and simple, pure and simple money laundering. Moreover,
thoughts.
All right, so I just want to pop this up. Randoon says all the Doge stuff has finally triggered my wife to awaken. She is finally researching and showing me stuff and paying attention. That's the best news out of all of this is when people wake up. And I know that it is a long process, and I know there's lots of couples out there where you're unequally yoked, I guess is probably the best way to put it in terms of the level of reality that we can see. And I know that it can be an extreme challenge. So it's nice to hear when family members start to come around and start to wake up. I think that that's great news. And this is yet another reason why they can't stand President Trump and everything that he promised to do, because they know that he's going to go about making these things happen. And as they continue to happen, more and more people are going to wake up, and they really can't stop it. When everybody's awake and sees everything for what it really is, then they can do nothing. Mad Max, Nancy Pelosi, none of these people will have a chance when it comes to everybody seeing who they really are. Now, how they're dealt with is up to Congress when we do the trials, how it goes, how the tribunals go. I think that those are an absolute necessity. And right now, a lot of people might not be ready for it. But as we're hearing, more and more people are waking up every single day. And as these people wake up, it's better for the rest of us, because it's not like we're trying to say, some fantasy that doesn't exist. We're saying, I see something, and people will open their hearts, and this is the reconciliation that we have coming towards us. Now, with that being said, I think it's a good time to bring this up. And that is the U.S. debt clock and the secret window, American super cycle, a golden age of wonders. See, this is a wondrous thing as people wake up, and that is exactly what's going to create the golden age. Once everybody recognizes that we're all in this game together and that we need to work with each other to make a beautiful place. We don't understand, and it's been a long time since we've had these conversations. A lot of this Tartaria talk is sometimes a bit far-fetched because they make it sound like we don't have the capability to do this. But there are construction techniques that we don't even understand how they do it today that they used to do 50 years ago.
Or longer.
Or longer. But it's because people used to work with their hands all the time, and they did something for something greater than themselves. Also, I wanted to point out the Doge clock here. And it looks like 100,000 million billion, 65 billion, 360 million and counting is what Doge has already taken care of. And I know that they're going to continue to find more. And as Doge finds more and more corruption and fraud, waste, and abuse, it's going to continue to wake up more people, because eventually there's going to be that one thing that pisses somebody off that says, hey, that's corrupt. Now you get it. Good job. But all we should do is rejoice and be grateful that more and more people wake up.
That's all we can do.
Oh, yeah.
You ready?
Yeah.
Can you read that, please?
Senator Josh Hawley explains why Democrats are panicking over USAID.
Let's listen.
USAIDs.
They're panicking big time, Laura, because their power base is being threatened. That's what's really going on here. I mean, look at what they're doing over USAID. This is because they've used that as their personal plaything. And that includes billions and billions of taxpayer dollars that have gone, to fund outrageous stuff overseas, like trans affirming projects in Zimbabwe or whatever. But also, let's not forget, to fund their preferred media outlets like Politico. And who knows what other left-wing rags have been getting money, federal government money, from this agency, and there's been no accountability. So yes, what's happening is Trump is exposing all of this. He is cutting off the liberal supply chains, as it were, and the liberals are just losing their minds. They're totally losing their minds. We need more of it. You mentioned the IRS. I love it. I love Trump's idea to get rid of the Internal Revenue Service. Let's make it the External Revenue Service. Let's start making these agencies work for the American people.
Thought.
All right. So the whole USAID thing, they're losing their money. And that was kind of what I was getting at is they hire mercenaries this way. And it sounds like a lot of it is making sure that they're fighting disinformation based off the previous report that we had heard a little bit earlier in the show. So if they can't fight disinformation, then that means that they don't even have control of that little bit of the narrative that they used to have. That's why they're on TV whining and crying about how mean Orange Man is. And we all know that President Trump is amazing, and that's why they don't like him, because they can't understand that level of amazing.
No,
Steph says, my husband played a TikTok a few minutes ago, and a lady on there was speaking her mind and saying she wants every dime of her tax money back. Me too. I want every dime of my tax money back. I want everything that I was promised, and at least kind of, a little kicker thrown in there, because we've been screwed over and we were given a whole list of lies. Meanwhile, they were taking everybody's money and they were making themselves richer. All of their stuff needs to be taken back. And then all of that money that we got from these foreign nations, those foreign nations need to pay the piper here, because you got a sweetheart deal and you knew you shouldn't have taken it. So therefore, you better pay up. Pay up, sucker. It's time. Brother Bill says, turns out instead of needing trillions of dollars to run the needed government services, it can all be done for about $15,000 a year. And then Silver says, no one wants to pay taxes anymore now that we know, and everyone's demanding a refund in the Patriot world. It's not just the Patriot world, though. It's everywhere. And once this corruption is completely found out, they're not going to have a choice. That's why it's going to have to go from the Internal Revenue Service to the External Revenue Service. Oh, by the way, I know a lot of people had questions about the sovereign fund. The sovereign fund sounds like President Trump wants to fold TikTok into that. So that might be some kind of actual reparation for the things that China has done to our nation. And we just get to, all your base are ours kind of thing.
That wouldn't suck. Well, wait till you hear this. Are you ready?
Am I?
We'll see.
We shall see.
Let's listen.
All right.
Breaking: Jeffrey Epstein was receiving payments from USAID, the same department that Doge just got rid of. In 2023, Jeffrey Epstein getting payments from USAID. Elon Musk and Doge is doing a great job. There's going to be so much to come to light. I am so ready for it. Let's go.
Thoughts?
Silver said normies want a tax refund too. Yeah, well, only the ones that are waking up. But you know what? As they all wake up, you can get a little bit of a refund too. I don't see why not. After all, it's all free money anyways. It's all fake, right? So yeah, just go ahead and send it all our way. All right. So the whole Epstein thing. Anybody surprised that Epstein was receiving money from USAID? No. He was running a honeypot operation. So that's how that kind of money moves around. I can't wait until they cart Jeffrey Epstein out for the tribunals. That's going to be the best part about the whole thing, because I know he's not unalived. I feel it in my bones still to this day that they're going to cart Jeffrey Epstein out, and you're going to hear that slap, and that's going to be the collective buttholes of everybody who ever even thought about visiting that island is going to be very, very concerned in a very short period of time once they find out that he's still alive. I know it's going to happen.
I know. When I saw that, I was like, oh, why doesn't this surprise me?
It's a honeypot operation. You got to get money into a honeypot operation somehow. Which means that we were kind of running that honeypot operation. But that wouldn't sink in.
Exactly. You ready?
Yeah.
Let's listen.
All right.
There are certain distractions in our life that have dominated us. This year will probably look like a repeat unless I put death to certain distractions, watch this, that have dominated me. For years of my life, a knife and a fork dominated me. I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about me. I can't tell you what your distractions are, but you sure do know them. You can ignore them, you can act like it's not a part of you, but some of you are literally in the same place praying for something God cannot do until you put a death to those distractions. And let me help you, He won't do it. You have to. He's not going to take her away. You're going to have to stop answering the phone. He's not going to shut Facebook down. You have to log off. Netflix ain't going to stop taking their $11 every month until you unsubscribe. Just want to let you know that your deliverance is going to come with the decision to put death to distractions.
Thoughts?
All right. So we do have to take care of our problems. They are our problems to deal with. We have to be the ones to overcome that. So what are our problems? Well, we all share so many of them, but they can be broken down into the 7 deadly sins, and those can only be defeated by the 7 heavenly virtues. And this is a great photo, and I actually have it saved in the as a favorite on my phone. But going through wrath, gluttony, greed, envy, sloth, lust, pride, and then the Latin version of that as well. And then I wanted to say that well, this one is gula, but gluttony can also be what is it? Oh, geez, I forgot the Latin word for it. But anyways, basically, it means. Now I have to look it up. Talk amongst yourself, please.
I have nothing, dear.
What do you mean you have nothing?
No.
Oh, geez. Hey, I'll have to look it up during the next video or something. But anyways, yeah, understand what it is, and then find out what the heavenly virtue is that you should be utilizing to combat that. Again, keeping your heart and your mind focused on the things that are good and right and proper, to put our sin on put our fleshly desires on that cross. How fast can you run to the cross? This is the prime time in which to try to figure out which heavenly virtue you need. And we all have problems that we're trying to overcome. And it's extremely important that we are doing our part. And once we do our part, he will make sure that we get the rewards that we should be getting.
Yeah.
We just have to put our flesh on the cross,
We absolutely do, because
our desires.
if we just continue to be that lukewarm Christian that, oh, I can do whatever I want 6 days a week, and then on that 7th day I show up and say, oh, I'm sorry. That's not doing what you're supposed to do.
I'm trying. Okay, so I'm getting one specific word. Gula keeps coming up, but it basically has to do with allowing, alcoholism can fall into that as well. I'll get the word. Anyways, yeah,
Are
let's
you
move
ready?
on. Yeah.
Let's listen.
All right.
This one's a short one, so pay attention.
Oh, geez.
I just don't want to miss my mark. Whatever God has for me to do on earth in the realest way, I do not want to miss that mark. I just want to do that every day.
Thoughts?
I was still trying to get back over to the video. I was trying to finish what I was typing.
Don't miss your mark.
Well, yeah, okay, don't miss your mark.
Thoughts?
Don't miss your mark. I know you're getting frustrated with me.
Can you read that, please?
Yes. Kari Lake. Well, this is what happens when I have to live react to everything and I don't have the ability to prepare for nothing. Anyways, so Kari Lake says DC is a crime scene with all the evidence they're finding. That's the truth.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody has, maybe except the president, of course, but out there on the Senate campaign trail, called out the fake news more than you. And we read now and hear that Politico got $8 million from USAID. Now, they try to put it away and say, well, we have this subscription service and it's high end and you get all this breaking information, Politico Pro and these other things. Okay, maybe. But why is the government spending $8 million to subsidize dying mainstream media? And then they write stories, as you know, that attack you, that attack Donald Trump, and push deep state narratives. It seems it's corrupt.
It's totally corrupt. I mean, we're finding out the fake news is brought to you by the United States government and our tax dollars. I just found out that BBC so-called journalists have been funded by the USAID, which we're finding out is just a money, really a money laundering, if you want to call it. It's a CIA slush fund that is funding all kinds of ridiculous and frankly unlawful and possibly criminal things across the globe. This is, this is almost the scene of the crime. I think Washington, D.C. is a crime scene right now with what they're uncovering that our federal government has been up to.
Whew. Boy, that is the truth, isn't it? Crime scene.
DC is a crime scene, and it has been a crime scene for a very, very long time. We've seen this. President Reagan was trying to fight against this as best as he could, but he didn't, he was still, shackled in terms of all that he could do, but he did great things, but he still had
shackled.
Because he couldn't do the things that President Trump is doing because President Reagan got in there paid by so many of the name the industrial complex, right?
Yeah.
Certainly he was a friend of the military one.
Well,
but it was necessary in the 80s. It was a different time.
It was a different time.
So it's
And we were all still very much asleep too.
so many more
Cruise control.
percentage wise. Yeah. Well, and we did. We let the government go on cruise control, and this is what we got. But there's so many problems that need to be addressed, and a lot more oversight needs to happen, and the American people need to have a much more active role in terms of what we allow the government to do. So much of this falls on us. We can sit here and point the finger at the elected officials that are there. So many of them went to DC to try to fix it and then got corrupted while they were there because of these kinds of honeypot operations. Keep in mind, the powers that be are going to want power. That's what power wants, is more power. So, and they're going to do whichever dirty trick they need to do to get these people to fall in line. And if they don't, well, I'm sure you just get, Arkancided.
Ooh. Not that.
No, hey, Arkansas is a thing.
I know.
So it's like, those are your choices. Imagine you were one of the Tea Party representatives, the people that came in on that Tea Party rush. Right. And then you do your human thing, pick a 7 deadly sin. They're going to find out what it is. They're going to take it to the extreme. Do you want the world to know this about you? No. Okay. Here's what you're going to vote for. And so people are left with that choice. It's sad, but it's what happens.
It is.
It's what has happened. But that's because there's been organizations like USAID and corrupt individuals within CIA. Again, corrupt individuals within, not the whole thing. Because the function of what CIA does is very important. Our intelligence community is extremely important, and it will be important until there's world peace. And even so, years and years after that, we should have an understanding of what's happening in the world around us, especially the stuff that they're not telling us about. That is important to know. But regardless, this is how our country has been taken over. So we need to make our nation much more incorruptible by having so many more representatives.
That's why that 30,000.org.
The 30,000.org.
That.
Yeah.
I knew it was something.
I'm going to
like
share
that.
I'm going to share that.
Okay.
All right. Anyways, I'm not going to post it.
Liberty says, do the same to them that they do to us. Arrest them, then find the crime.
We can't. When one looks into the abyss also looks into you. Friedrich Nietzsche. We cannot let the abyss that we've been looking into consume us to the point where we act the same way they do. We must, since we do have the moral high ground, we must maintain the moral high ground, because it won't be a properly fixed government if we end up turning into the exact same people that we were fighting. So it must be done with the rule of law. But yeah, I get it. And it probably wouldn't be that difficult to do that because I know that the evidence is there. But it's just not how we should be doing it. Aaron says, yes, without the CIA, how would we have crack in America, MK Ultra, or Project Mockingbird? Yeah, the criminals in America are important to the dual citizen criminals in Congress. I hear you, man. I hear you. But again, it's individuals versus all of the great solid Americans that are in the intelligence community.
Yeah,
I hear you.
There are some good ones.
There can be some problems, but it can be fixed. And I know that we're going to get to that point.
We are.
It'd be nice if we lived in a world that didn't require intelligence gathering or information collection, which gets turned into intelligence. But that's, semantics.
A whole nother conversation.
Yeah, whole nother conversation.
You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Can you read that, please?
All right. What?
Yeah.
Literal Hitler saved by the weather. Anti-Musk protests at the Capitol canceled.
Let's listen.
So there's supposed to be more anti-Elon, anti-Doge protests out here at the U.S. Capitol tonight, and you can see it's extremely quiet. People packing up their signs and going home because they were canceled. The protests were canceled because it's too cold outside. You would think when you're calling somebody literally Hitler and Trump and Elon are Nazis. You'd think that maybe it's a little bit cold outside. It's like 36 degrees. You'd still come out if you actually believe these people were Hitler. They're just regurgitating talking points from the mainstream media, from the legacy media, telling them to say these things, and they don't believe any of them at the end of the day. It's all a big farce. It's a farce that the American people are no longer believing. That time is over. The legacy media has lost their grip. The Democrats have lost the plot totally. And you can see it's just not working. It's one of the quietest nights out here at the Capitol that I've seen in a very, very long time. So take that as you wish.
Thoughts?
So, interesting perspective. You care so much that you don't care to show up. It's all lip service. But that's usually the way things work over there. It's easy to talk and use words. Words don't cost anything, or they don't cost you any money. It can cost you a lot more than money, but in the end, you don't have to pay to say words. We have freedom of speech. You can say whatever you want, and you don't even have to believe and follow through with the things that you say. I was just kidding. Yeah, how easy is that one? I didn't really mean that. I was angry, blah, 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 blah. It's the lack of accountability, and it's the lack of people following through with the things that they say that they believe in. Of course, that might be the lack of toxic masculinity that, they kept on talking about. But when you get a bunch of simps over there that, say the things that the gals want to be said, and they'll say and do anything for them, or say anything for them. But when it comes down to it, they just don't want to get there. I mean, the Antifa people, I mean, at least they were putting their money where their mouth was, but they weren't exactly geniuses. So, I mean, there's that. But really, if you think about it, there's a huge difference between the left and the right. The left will talk about things and they'll set things on fire when they know that they're not going to get in trouble. Well, it's a little bit different when you know you're going to get in trouble. And maybe that's another reason why people decided not to show up, because they know there's a new sheriff in town.
Yes.
New sheriff isn't going to play these games anymore.
Right.
So, yeah, it's going to look a little different.
It is. You ready?
Yep.
Can you read that, please?
Yes. Delusional former Biden staffer claims as a black woman she has fewer opportunities and is paid less.
Yeah. Let's listen.
That's interesting.
Delusional
Tell
former
us more.
Biden staffer claims as a black woman she has fewer opportunities and is paid less. This, of course, is not true. It hasn't been true for a long time. It was correcting itself long before DEI, long before Barack Obama introduced, or rather reinvigorated cultural Marxism in the United States of America. Years, maybe even a decade before that, the workforce discrimination, all these things were really starting to correct themselves. I lived through it. I saw that people weren't taking into account skin color, race, religion, gender nearly as much. It's always going to be there to some extent, but not to the point that people were given fewer opportunities based upon their gender and the color of their skin. But according to what was her name, Ashley Allison, who is she was on CNN on Abby Phillips' show. She was the deputy director in the Office for Public Engagement in Biden's White House, which apparently, I had to look it up. Their role was to reach out to black communities and pitch the Democrat Party, apparently. Well, she went on CNN and she did this rant. It is unhinged. Warning ahead of time. Warning ahead of time.
I do not have the same opportunity as you. I know I don't.
And you know
and
that
I know
too.
let's go.
I got it. And you know that.
Let me just tell you about me.
I'm gonna let you finish, but I want to answer this.
I'm not talking about how you feel. I'm talking about how I feel. Me, a black woman in this country.
But not in this city.
And I will run. And if you want,
I'm a New Yorker, not in this city. You cannot say that. You can't say that in this city. But I have a.
I'm not talking about New York. I'm talking about Ashley.
Let her finish.
Right here. I got a law degree, a master's, and 2 bachelors. Probably more education than all y'all added up together at this table,
Fine by
right?
me.
And I have always been.
And you're still a mental midget.
On payroll at every institution I have worked in, and it's not
Even
because
in the White House.
Even in the White House.
Well, whose fault is that? I don't think you worked for George W. or Trump.
Well, guess what happened when I was there? DEI.
Look.
Oh Boy, I love that clap at the end, by the way. I forgot that guy's name. I always forget his name. I actually had him listed as a possible guest. I need to, don't tell him. I forgot his name. Anyway, yeah, that panel, they didn't know what to think. They were just letting her go. Now, here's the thing. Okay, based upon what her qualifications, based upon her history, based upon the multiple degrees that she has, she probably is legitimately very intelligent. But when she says stuff like she has fewer opportunities than other people because she's a black woman, that means that she has absolutely no awareness of what's been happening in the world for the past decade and a half, 2 decades, really. Nothing. She doesn't get it. Donald Trump is reversing it. He's getting things fixed back to where they should be, which is a person's qualifications should be the only factor when it comes to employment. A person's intelligence and hard work and grades and delivery of their scholarly skills, that should be the only factors for admission into college, for example. We should not be looking at race, gender, sexual orientation, religion, yada, yada, yada. Now, there are exceptions. If you, I'm not going to expect, as a Bible-believing Christian, I'm not going to walk into a mosque and ask to be a teacher there. Apply for a job as an imam or anything like that. That would be ludicrous. But when it comes to qualifications, when it comes to the way that our nation, our society should work, I'm completely open to anything as long as it is merit-based. Look, if a 220-pound, 6-foot woman, biological, full-blown actual woman, not any of those fake women, an actual real woman is able to run a 4.340 and bench press 250 pounds and demonstrates the ability to hold on to the ball and can break tackles and dodge people, sign her to the NFL. Okay, if she's good enough, if she has the qualifications and the skills to be able to play running back in the National Football League, sign her. I don't care that she's a woman. Okay. Obviously, I'm sure there's other exceptions out there, but it really should be. We need to be, as a nation, as a society, and really as a world, not that I care about what happens outside of the United States, but we need to be not listening to people like Ashley Allison. We need to listen to people who are telling you the truth. People like me who says it's based upon merit. That's it. No other qualifications. Now here, I thought of a good exception. So, for example, there are non-government organizations. And I'm not talking about your standard NGOs. I'm saying they're not in government. They're organizations that, for example, give scholarships to particular people. I have no problem with private organizations that want to help, the quote unquote their people. Okay, but to be clear, it should be across the board. In other words, there should be a variation potential for it. I'm not saying that you have to mandate the creation of a Caucasian college fund. I'm just saying that should be legal. If you're going to allow other things to be legal, then you have to allow it across the board. Again, let's just eliminate discrimination altogether. I'm not talking about discrimination versus reverse discrimination. You can't be a bigot if you're this color or that race, blah, 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 blah. Let's get back to basics. Let's follow biology. Let's follow common sense. And let's stop with this gaslighting, this ugliness, because they, especially, not exclusively, but especially on the radical left, they want us divided based upon race, based upon gender, based upon sexual orientation and religion and everything else. Why can't we just all be Americans? Thank you for watching that clip. I hope you love
thoughts.
All right. So JD Rucker's spitting some truth there. It was interesting listening to her. And I know that I give college grads some hard times on this show, but that's because of some of the things that were being said, especially the younger ones.
As she's sitting there saying, I have,
This and that and the other degree. Yeah.
Well, bitch,
It didn't
Join
help
the
anything.
club.
Well, if she was so damn smart, she'd see things for what they really are.
Exactly.
It's hubris, it's pride, it's vainglory. It's something that she needs to work on. As she sat there with her little pursed lips and like all high and mighty because she thought that she won the argument.
Right.
No, you didn't win the argument.
No,
You just
she did not.
ran roughshod over the panel there, and nobody felt like dealing with your wrath because you're an irrational human being. Clearly, you're irrational. Otherwise, you'd realize that if y'all were doing such a great freaking job, then things would look a lot better than they do. Let's start out with the basics there. See, that's the problem. And it's the poor me syndrome. I haven't had enough opportunities. Really? All right, try working for the opportunities and not having those opportunities given to you.
Handed to you.
Yeah, handed to you on a silver platter. Any number of things. I could go over a long list, but I'm not going to get salty about it. But what I do want to say is okay, fantastic. You spent a lot of money and you went to a school. That does not mean that you're any better than anybody else, because so many people in my family didn't get a degree, yet they were doing top secret things because they had the brain. See, things used to be different. It's just like in World War II, nobody had to have a high school diploma to even fly an airplane. It wasn't a requirement.
Right.
They were looking for specific skill sets that they were able to see in each and every human being as to whether or not they would fit into a certain job that made the most sense. We've lost that. We've gone to this thing where you have to have this check in the box and that check in the box before you can even be considered to have, any kind of ability to do a job, let alone be in charge. But really, it's all of these kids, they're graduating from college because they listened to the lie that said, oh, you're going to make $100,000 as soon as you get out of school. No, you're not. No, you're not. You still got to learn. You got to learn how it really works. And we've fallen prey to allowing these younger generations to be able to talk all the shit. And we're not letting them fall on their face to show them how dumb they really are. Because I know I have fallen on my face on more than one occasion. And I thought that I was the smartest person on the planet. I have been humbled on more than one occasion, and it took that. And thankfully, people had patience for me at that point in time. I know that I wouldn't have had patience for me if I understood what I was doing to the world around me. And it looked a lot similar to what she's got going on. We need to recognize that not just because you have this or that or the other difference, that doesn't make you any more qualified, nor does it give you any more of a right to a job or anything in life just because of something like that, right? You have to be able to show that you're intelligent, and you have to be able to prove it without having to. If you have to tell everybody how smart you are, maybe you're not as smart as you think you are.
Right.
Steph says, and that's what makes her look dumb.
Hey, Michelle.
Exactly. Hey, Michelle, thanks for joining. Chachi says, college is worthless nowadays. I wouldn't say worthless, but yeah, I can see what you're getting at. Been that way for a long time. Experience is far more valuable. Experience is extremely important. And people having a natural ability or talent to be able to do something. These are things that we forgot how to recognize, people's natural talent and ability to do something. Yeah. We'll never have another Jim Thorpe if we don't allow people to let their natural talents and abilities to shine. And the way society is structured now, nobody is going to be able to succeed because we're too busy trying to tell everybody that they need to be something than what they actually are. Hope says, our youngest daughter and her husband went to college 2 years and quit. He has his own company now, and she works with him. Beautiful. It's about finding out what we can do within the confines of the system that's there. But the good thing is the system's going to be changing because we're not giving all of our money away to a very small group of people who think that they're smarter than everybody else on the planet.
Well, there is that.
There is that.
Yeah.
Because all these smartest people on the planet do an absolutely miserable job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah.
Can you read that, please?
Let's see. Black podcaster annihilates the Democrat Party in 3 minutes.
Let's listen.
This fucking political party, the Democratic Party, have lied to us about everything. They've lied about being the party of the middle class. They've lied about being the party of peace. They've lied about being the party that wants to help poor people. Okay? What the last several weeks have proven to us all is that this is a cadre of criminals and losers and spoiled children of affluent parents who were more concerned about looking good than actually doing good. These are people who were more concerned about looking like they were doing something for the American people than actually doing things for the American people. And that's why I'm so angry. Because this party lied to me while stealing my tax dollars. The Democratic Party lied to us all while they brought in millions of illegal immigrants for their own political purposes for the last 4 years. 20 to 30 million illegal aliens brought in. And now we come to USAID being probably the largest money laundering operation in American history. Congratulations, Dems. You've outdone even Bernie Madoff. I'm disgusted beyond words. Disgusted with the waste of money. Disgusted with the waste, with the fraud. With the way that you people use color legitimacy and the way you use black people as fucking mules to get us to push whatever fucking agenda you wanted to. The amount of division you used black people to sow upon the American people, you used us for that. And I will never, ever forgive this political party. The shit that I've gone through personally. Y'all were supposed to be the party of free speech, the party of women's rights. You have immolated all of those things. And then, as if enough weren't enough, you then decide that you're going to die on the hill of USAID, a government audit. You're trying to prevent a government audit because some of you really are trying to stay out of prison. We see the game now. Y'all been out here telling us that the game was rigged against certain people. Well, now we found out who the people that were rigging the game were. Congratulations. Y'all are never going to win another political race ever again. Not if I can help it.
Thoughts?
And that was the reason why I was asking. So I put that request out there is, can anybody make out the logo? Because I don't pay attention to sports anymore. Because I was thinking it kind of looks like a Chicago Bulls hat. And then Aaron was kind of thinking the same thing too. And so this is somebody from Chicago, and he kind of has that Chicago accent and that attitude too. So if that's Chicago, and if these are people in Chicago and the way they feel, doesn't that give you an idea as to the atmospherics as to what's going on in our nation right now? People are seeing it. So many people are waking up to it because the fraud is being exposed, and it's pissing everybody off because we've been told to work harder and pay more, and things have only gotten worse the more we've given. We give and give and give, and they take and take and take, and it's never enough. And we're sick and tired, and we're fed up with it. And everybody's at that point now. And I think that that's one of the things that's helping people wake up is the amount of pain that people are going through. And the fact that, they've been hearing about how bad Trump is, yet everything he's done since he's been in office is to do the things that has been on the top of every American's priority list. The Democrats didn't want illegal immigration forever and a day. Now, all of a sudden, it's a bad thing, and they've got their little cronies and their useful idiots that are going to support them. And okay, well, whatever. And then, now all of a sudden, when we're finding out about the amount of fraud that's been going on with our taxpayer dollars through USAID, and wait till the whole Medicare scams come out, because they're saying it's already $100 billion in 2023 alone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. going to wake up a lot of people because it's their money and they're going to realize it and they're going to be pissed. And they should be.
Yeah.
And people, like he said, will not vote for that ever again.
No.
Not while those who actually understand what's going on are still alive. The people who are aware, or the people who become aware by the time this is all said and done and the dust settles, I'm going to say somebody in their early 20s that's truly paying attention. By the time that, they actually pass on, 80 years from now, because I'm sure life expectancies will go back up again now that we're not going to have the Democrats destroying our food and water supply, poisoning the well, if you will, that we'll live longer. And so the story will be carried on from a first person perspective. That's important, because that means that we have that much more time before this kind of crap happens ever again. So hooray, people are waking up. Chachi says, I kind of feel like the Dems are being forced to die on that hill. Not that I don't agree that they should. Chicago has been based forever. Mainstream media always tells a different story. Yeah, I guess it does. Of course, then again, I guess I fell victim to that lie as well. But where are you supposed to get the news as to how people really feel in so many different parts of the country? Liberty says, I thought it was a security guard emblem. Well, I guess it could be that too.
Thank you, Angie.
Thank you, Angie. So, yeah, what was it? Chicago's been based forever. I kind of feel like the Dems are being forced to die on that hill. There we go. So that one right there. I think that they are being forced to die on that hill, because I don't think that if they don't dig their heels in for one of their largest money grabs, then they're cooked. Because once people figure out, okay, this is where the money's going, and we cut this out of our budget, and then the government runs significantly more efficiently moving forward, and there's less problems around the world, people are going to want to know where every dollar went, despite the fact that it was kind of hidden. But there's a record of money. I will say that's a good thing about the Federal Reserve, is they keep track of all that.
They do.
So we can figure out where the money went. And it's going to point to a lot of people that don't want it pointed directly at them. And I'm going to say that those are the very people who've been whining and complaining about Doge.
Yeah.
Aaron says, now we get our news from people on X. Well, yeah, that's because Elon Musk came in and made sure that free speech was a thing again.
Yeah.
Liberty says, they've been stealing our money the day of reckoning shall
come.
Oh, reckoning shall come. Yeah,
soon.
There we go. Reckoning will come. I do believe that.
You ready?
Yes.
How about some Kelly?
Yeah, I could use some Kelly.
Let's listen.
All righty.
Let me ask you a question today, and I really want you to think about it. Let's say, hypothetically, you got into some financial trouble, and your very favorite possession you had to go and pawn. Now, while your item is in that pawn shop, no matter how bad you want it, you have no access to it. It's locked up. But let's also say I see you and I love you. So I go down to the pawn shop and pay off the debt for you. I drive straight over to your house and I tell you, hey, I love you so much. I went and paid that debt for you. You now have access to the thing you want. But here's the question. How ridiculous would it be if every day after that, you showed up at my door begging me to give you your thing back? Kelly, you said you bought and paid for it. Can I have it? Will you give it to me? Kelly, please, I really want my thing. Can I have it? Please give it to me. Can I have it? Can I have it? I mean, that's ridiculous, right? At some point, I would have to say to you, it's already been bought and paid for. You don't have to beg me for it. Just go get it. Look, you and I can agree that's completely ridiculous, right? But that's what we do to God every single day. Please understand there's only two things that God will never do: what he's already done and what he asked you to do. And you see, that's the problem. We are so easy to forget what he's already done. So let me remind you today. You see, when Jesus went to the cross, he didn't just pay for your salvation. In fact, the word for salvation in the New Testament is sozo, which means saved, healed, and delivered. It means all three. When you're reading the New Testament and you see the word healed, sozo, you see the word salvation, sozo, you see the word delivered, Sozo. What that means is that they are all three connected as one. You can't have the saving without the healing, and you can't have the healing without the deliverance. So to break that down even further, what that means for you is when Jesus went to the cross, he didn't just pay for your salvation. He paid for your deliverance, your healing, your marriage, your finances, your kids, your job, your everything. And since it's already been bought and paid for, you don't have to beg God for anything. You see, one of the greatest revelations I've ever had in my entire life was I don't have to beg God for what I need. All I have to do is thank him for it. You see, the real question is, are you a beggar or a believer? And there's a really easy test you can take to find out which one is you. Let me hear you pray. A beggar prayer and a believer prayer sound very different. A beggar prayer sounds like this. God, if you could, please heal Jimmy. God, if it be in your will, we need help with our finances this month. God, please, if you would, if you can, please. But a believer's prayer sounds like this. Father, I thank you 2,000 years ago, you paid for Jimmy's healing on the cross. We receive it today in Jesus' name. Father, I thank you that all my needs are provided because your word says that you are my provider and you will meet all my needs. Father, I thank you that we have more than enough, not only for what we need, but so we can be a blessing to others. Did you see the difference? If you will remove the word please from your prayers and change it to thank you, oh, son, your prayer life's about to level up. Yeah, wait a minute, Kelly. No, I'm not going to not say please. That's rude. Okay. I hear what you're saying, but hear what I'm saying. When I say thank you, it implies the please was already there. I'm honoring God by saying thank you because he told me to speak in faith. And when I thank him for what he's done, even though I don't see it yet, that is me exercising faith. I'm saying, God, this is what I believe about you. Yeah, I don't see it in my life yet, but I know who you are. And I know what you bought and paid for me. You see, I have a 9-year-old son named Jax at home. And every day he and his friends will run through my house and just beg me for snacks. Dad, can we have some cookies? Can we have a Capri Sun? Can we have this? Can we have that? These kids be wearing me out. But then I also have a daughter who's 20 years old. And I can't even tell you how many times I've come home and her friends will have every stick of food I've ever bought in my life out on the counter making brownies, lasagnas, whatever. And she didn't ask me at all. So what's the difference? My daughter has a revelation of who her father is. And if my father bought it and it's in my pantry and I have access to it, I don't have to beg him for it. I don't have to go and say, please. I just go and get it. And I tell him, thank you, because I know how much he loves me. You see, for some of you to move from beggar to believer, you need a better understanding of who your father is. Because the truth is, your father loves you more than anything. And he gave his son as the ultimate sacrifice so that you would never have a single need ever for the rest of your life. So let me encourage you today. Do an evaluation of yourself. Listen to the words when you pray. Are you a beggar or are you a believer? Stop begging God for what he already bought and paid for you. Change the word please to thank you in your prayers and watch how God starts to move in you. And think about that for a minute.
Thoughts?
All right, so if y'all don't know who that is, Kelly K Ministries, dude's amazing. You can catch him on TikTok and YouTube and Twitter. Facebook. Yeah, I don't know if he's on Twitter or not. No. Okay. Anyways, so I know that I had a problem with that. It's like, why wouldn't I say please? It's God. I'm trying to humble myself as best as I can. But it's that understanding that we know that whatever we ask for in prayer, we will, and believe we will receive whatever that is. And so when we go forward with that boldness, when we approach the throne with confidence in our prayers, requests, and supplications. I know I'm getting the words wrong, but y'all get the gist of what I'm talking about. Anyways, when we have that confidence that he will do these things, that's what he appreciates because that's what he asks us to do. So we have to be thankful for the things that he's done, even though we don't see it already. As a matter of fact, that thing that we want was probably put on our heart by him himself. So that way we can understand and get to know him better. Also, another thing that he said, but didn't really talk about very much is that, geez, I kind of lost it here. So the confidence when we ask, and then, oh, geez, I'm having a night tonight. Is it Friday yet?
No.
Okay. Well, whatever. Yeah, definitely change your please to a thank you. And that's what's going to make a big difference. I guess what I had to say was a little side note, not that important anyway. Apparently, if it's important, it'll come back later. So, but anyways, yeah, have that confidence and know that he already, wants more for you than you even know how to ask or imagine.
What you think about and what you think about, you bring about.
As per The Secret. But
Yeah.
The Secret stole so many of the nuggets of wisdom from the Bible and rebranded it as some new agey kind of thing.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny how all the new age stuff just repeats what the Bible says in a different way? Just throwing that one out there. Anyways, Liberty said, God is in us all. It's our choice to keep him there. Very true. Amen. I believe
Very
that too.
much so. Brother Bill says, praying God's word is also key to having a fruitful prayer life too.
Amen.
Aaron says, to Silver, please is when you're asking a person to assist. Thank you is when they do it, in my honest opinion. Humble opinion.
Or it could be honest. Either or.
You ready?
Yeah.
How about some Craig?
Yes.
Let's listen.
All right.
Other times I ain't got no time for nothing and nobody. And I'm impatient. And here's what I've noticed about me, is that almost every time my life displays the fruits of the flesh, in other words, almost every time that I'm showing bad fruit, I tell myself I got a good excuse. Someone else's fault. I'm just under pressure. There's a lot going on. You don't understand my life. I'm facing a lot. If you got bad fruit, I'm judging you. If I got bad fruit, I got a reason. And what I've noticed is, even though I tell myself I've got a good excuse, if I belong to Jesus and I'm connected to the vine, there is no excuse for bad fruit.
There's no excuse for bad fruit. Thoughts?
There's no excuse for bad fruit.
I mean, really, it's that simple.
I mean, everything in life is a choice, whether we think it is or not. And it's not a choice in terms of we have this, we're going to force something to happen. It's the way we react to the stimulus that are provided to us in the world. And we can choose to use love, or we can choose, we can speak life, or we can speak death on a situation. And the more we speak life into a situation, despite how it came to us in the beginning, what comes out of that is what's truly important. And so those are the fruits. So we have to make sure that we are focused on our reaction. And we're going to have a reaction. We don't necessarily have control over what our heart says about how we feel about something, but what we do with that is the most important thing. And so, yeah, we got to make sure that the fruits that we're providing to the world around us are fruits that are good for everyone.
Absolutely. Are you ready?
Yes.
Can you read that, please?
Pfizer whistleblower shows why they wanted their data hidden for 75 years.
75.
75.
That's
yeah.
crazy.
Huh. Good luck with that.
Yeah. Let's listen.
A Pfizer whistleblower who works inside the company has released these documents showing that they had received over 158,000 reports of adverse reactions from December 1, 2020 through February 28th, 2021. Serious adverse reactions, spontaneous abortions. It is absolutely evil what these people have done. The FDA was well aware, and that is why they wanted these documents hidden for 75 years, because it just proves that this was intentionally released, and they knew all along that it was going to cause massive heart attacks and strokes and deaths and infertility and miscarriages. I mean, it goes on and on and on. Neurological issues. The fact that this thing they call a vaccine is still on the market blows my mind, because they have removed vaccines where 10 cases of a child getting sick occurred. And so this is evil, intentional, and whoever is involved must be held accountable.
What was the shit talking going on
I
in the
don't know.
background there?
Thoughts.
All right, so
158,000. And like Aaron said, that's from the ones that didn't pass
yeah,
right afterward.
exactly.
So anyway, thoughts.
So this is going to be my guess as to why for 75 years they wanted to hide this, because you can't take people to prison and send them to Guantanamo Bay if they're not on this plane of existence anymore. So it's going to be the Nuremberg trials. And it is a set of 10 principles that govern the ethics of human experimentation. And we know that this was human experimentation because they created a virus that they unleashed on everybody. And truly, the jab itself seems to be really much more of a problem that they were paying, probably through USAID, to silence everybody from being able to communicate about it. I'm sure there were other organizations that were involved in the silencing of the American people and denying them their First Amendment rights, which sounds an awful lot like treason to me.
Yes.
Maybe this is why our numbers are going down. But anyways, because I tell too much truth sometimes. But anyways,
But I like it when you tell the truth.
the 10 principles, yeah, well, the internet does not. Anyway, so voluntary consent. I don't think people had voluntary consent because they didn't really know, and they were being told that they were going to lose their job.
Yes.
Yes? Oh, yeah, that's right. You lost your job.
I did.
You did. Yeah. Huh. Anyways, so don't know if that's necessarily voluntary consent. You know, you can either live and not take it, or you can croak by taking this Russian roulette kind of jab. Risk and benefit assessment. I guess that really wasn't put out there because it was a blank sheet and the warnings and indicators page that it had, and the trials weren't exactly done. They're going to try to blame that on President Trump, but that's not going to work out so well because we've already seen the patents for COVID-19 that came out 5 years before in 2014. Yeah, so whole big question there. Also, on top of that, the risk and benefit assessment wasn't really done properly because they were suppressing that information that we just saw. So, not going to work. Competent investigators. If they were competent, they were corrupt. Otherwise, they were incompetent. I don't know. Pick your poison. Avoid unnecessary suffering. Well, I would say lots of people have suffered, hundreds of thousands, just in that one report from one of the big pharma industries. Proper preparation. Well, that didn't really happen.
No.
And then experiment termination. They never really terminated it. They just wait till everybody stopped believing in the lies that they were telling us.
Yeah.
We got some fixing to do here in the future, and it's going to take another Nuremberg trial.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that will help out in the future. I know that not every doctor is liable out there. As a matter of fact, each one of those doctors who reported one of those awful side effects, and the VAERS system was corrupted as well.
Yes, it was.
But each one of those reports comes from a doctor. That was a doctor doing the right thing. So as much as we talk trash about the medical industry right now, there are people out there who are fighting for the truth and fighting for what was right. I know that there was one doctor that I think he got arrested because he gave everybody a saline shot.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he was giving out
Finally,
saline.
charges were dropped.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Huh? How about that?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trials need to happen.
Yeah.
Silver says the whole world is going to be glued to the Nuremberg trials 2.0. Yeah, I agree. But I think that we should change the name. I don't think it should be Nuremberg 2.0. They should be the Gitmo trials.
Yeah, they should be.
And I think the reason for that is because it's something very unique and different than what the Nazis did in Germany during World War II, because it was open warfare against all of humanity, which in the end, it may not be as anti-Semitic, but it's definitely anti-human.
Yeah.
And they're a bunch of eugenicists and should be treated accordingly.
Yes, they should.
Esto says, I fell asleep. Her voice was so soft. And then I woke you up. Aaron says, they have been jabbing wildlife with mRNA shit, working on it in plants. The farm critters, the bastards need to swing. A lot of people feel just like you, Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Steph says, we like it when you tell the truth, Santino. Yes. It's not good for numbers.
Who cares?
I know. Who gives a shit? At least y'all are listening. Anyways, Liberty says, I still can't believe Trump hasn't reversed the EO Obama signed where pharmacies can't be sued.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the pharmaceutical companies.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's happening for a reason.
I think it's coming, though.
It's coming, but everything he does is for a reason. And I think that he's going to reverse that after everybody finds out, in which case it was all done fraudulently. So if there are any laws, it's just that kind of protect them, like statute of limitations, those won't matter because there's new evidence that's been provided about the corruption that was done to get them past that, let alone the, trying to keep everything hidden for 75 years. Right. This is an exposure, and this is a drip, 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 drip. It's happening. The flood's coming. Oh, the flood is coming.
It is. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Can you read that, please?
Party's over, fruitcakes. Mom issues warning to teacher-groomers indoctrinating kids.
Ready?
Yeah, they better watch out, too.
They better.
The education industrial complex is needing an ass whipping.
Let's listen.
Something fierce.
Party's over, fruitcakes. Donald Trump just signed an executive order ending the radical indoctrination in K-12 schooling. What does that mean? That means that CRT, critical race theory, is going out the window if schools want to keep their federal funding. It means that gender ideology is going out the window if schools want to keep their federal funding. In addition to just ending all of this mind-bending stuff that they're doing to kids, teachers are also going to have to start facing the full extent of the law if they sexually exploit minors, if they unlawfully practice medicine by offering diagnoses and treatment without the requisite license. So when a kid walks in with a new short haircut and you say, oh, hey, I didn't know you were trans, Becky. And then Becky starts wondering, oh, now I look like a boy. Maybe I really am a boy. And then there's all this information out there that tells her that it's normal to feel that way, even though it is not. And she hadn't even had that thought on her own before. Yeah, we're coming after you, psycho teacher. You want to mess with a kid's mind? Watch out. Another thing they're going after them for is unlawfully facilitating the social transition of a minor student. So, hey, Tommy, come here. You want to be Tammy while you're in school? Come here. I'll help you out. You can be Tammy all day here. And then, I'll help you get ready so that you can go home and your parents don't know about it. That's an interruption of parental rights. Watch out. Watch out, sickos. You wanted to come for our kids. Well, now we're coming for you. It's on.
This is glorious. It's absolutely glorious. And here's the beautiful thing about it is they've been driving a wedge between parents and children for a long, long time now. And as we, the people, get our power back and these indoctrinators, not teachers, because if they were teachers, our children would be getting smarter. But they're not. They're dumber. Just look at what's happened since the Department of Education was created. Now we get the chance to ask our kids, oh, what's going on? Is that teacher trying to, force you into this to make you feel like that this is going to help your life out a little bit more? Take the exact same tactic that all these scumbag indoctrinators have been using to indoctrinate our kids into a lifestyle that is unnatural and unhealthy, which is proven scientifically.
Yes.
That trans have a higher incidence of suicide than those who are not, because it's a misdiagnosis through medical experimentation against the will of the people that the medical experimentations are being conducted on. Against is maybe a better word.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, now they need to worry. Now they can't make the parents worry anymore because the parents have the power to go back at these indoctrinators to make sure that they're not poisoning the minds of the youth, which is exactly what got Socrates killed. But none of these people could hold Socrates' jockstrap, let alone be able to match wits with the man. They're not that smart. All they're doing is corrupting the youth without any benefit to the kids whatsoever. Watch out. Keep it up, because y'all been FAing for a long, long number of decades, and the time is nigh.
It is.
May God have mercy on your souls if it's right for him to do so. Liberty says, yeah, and get those little
Boxes out.
boxes out of the schools. What boxes?
The litter boxes.
Oh, the litter boxes, the damn litter box. I think there was one litter box in school, one school somewhere, but it shows the extent of the absurdity that these teachers have been forcing these mentally ill indoctrinators that call themselves teachers. It says how far they can take it, and they're willing to take it. Wendy says, hi, I fell asleep, was sleeping hard too. I'm glad I could be waking everybody up. It's time to wake up.
Right. Angie says, boomerang.
Boomerang.
It's coming.
Yep, sure is.
You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Can you read that, please?
Jesse Waters, what was that, CBS? Says CBS chopped Kamala's babbling answer. Oh, yeah, they did.
Let's listen.
Yeah, this is another no win for her.
Yeah, I know.
We got our hands on the raw footage of Kamala Harris's 60 Minutes interview. Last October, in the heat of the election, Harris, Hail Mary with CBS. But the network was caught deceptively editing this answer. Watch.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
We're not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening. The Wall Street Journal said that that your administration has repeatedly been blindsided by Netanyahu. And in fact, he has rebuffed just about all of your administration's entreaties.
Well, Bill, the work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region. And we're not going to stop doing that. We're not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end.
Trump sued CBS for $10 billion, and it looks like they might settle. But before that happens, the FCC released the full interview, unedited, and we have the tape. They talked for an hour and left a lot out. Here's an answer that never made air. Watch.
I'm trying to understand how it is that with this emphasis on the border, the numbers of crossings quadrupled under the first 3 years of the Biden-Harris administration. How did that happen?
There are a variety of factors that relate to what we have seen globally and what we are not immune from at our own border in terms of what we have seen in terms of surge of immigration and irregular migration. And there are solutions at hand, but we've got to have leaders who are solution oriented, which
Sound like a
we've
question.
been and are.
CBS also cut out their host pressing Kamala on how she's going to pay for all of her giveaways.
If all of this makes so much sense, why has this not been done? You're dealing with a Congress that is divided, that many are in opposition to not only you, but your policies. So how are you going to make this
Bill,
come true?
If I approached my life as though, well, it's never been done before, therefore it cannot be done, I wouldn't be sitting here in this interview with you. That's the truth.
Then 60 Minutes tossed Kamala a big fat softball, and she swung and missed.
The most basic of questions. Why do you want to be president of the United States?
There are many reasons, but probably first and foremost, I truly believe in the promise of America. I do. And I love the American people. You know, we are a people who have ambition and aspirations and dreams and optimism and hope.
That's why you want to run. That's why you want to be
That's why I'm
president.
running. That and some other reasons.
But you're asking the American people to make you the most powerful person on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you deserve the American people's votes?
Well, first of all, I have a career and a history of being very clear that I think of my role of leadership, and in particular now for the last 4 years as vice president and moving forward as president, if the voters will have me, as being a leader on behalf of all Americans.
Kamala wasn't the only one having a rough night. One of the crew guys misgendered Madam Vice President.
Is that what you needed?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. 30 seconds of silence, please, for room time.
Thoughts?
Was that an Is Kamala a dude?
I don't know.
Oh, boy, that'd be interesting. I didn't see that. Esto says, I'm feeling burdened by listening to what might have been. You know, she has this amazing ability, and I don't understand that. And it's to absolutely tune out anything she's saying. I hear noise, but I'm not comprehending what she's saying. And I know I can go on some rambling things every now and then. But man, this woman just, it's a magic trick. She is a witch because I really don't care to hear anything she says. Did I misgender her? Yeah. If Kamala, if we misgendered you, then we don't care. So yeah, whatever. She's never had kids. Interesting. Well, well, that just threw a wrench in everything, didn't it? Why did they put that out there? What was the point of that?
Exactly.
It feels like a soft disclosure.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's weird.
You ready?
But I do feel unburdened by what could have been.
Well, let's listen.
Oh, no. Oh, but there's more. Oh,
more bad news for Kamala Harris, y'all. CBS had to release the footage, the raw footage from that interview she did before the election. It is not a good look. Y'all like the video and check this out.
The true Kamala Harris has finally been exposed, and the US is breathing a
what?
Hold on.
Okay.
More bad news for Kamala Harris, y'all. CBS had to release
is our interwebs
the raw footage from that interview she did before the election. It is not a good look. Y'all like the video and check this out.
The true Kamala Harris has finally been exposed, and the US is breathing a collective sigh of relief knowing they chose the right candidate in Donald Trump. CBS was forced to hand over the raw and unedited footage from the Kamala Harris interview they aired during the election campaign as part of the FCC probe into whether the network violated the FCC's news distortion policy. Complaints were filed after it was revealed that 60 Minutes heavily edited the raw footage for their on-air program, which was different to the footage aired on their YouTube and digital channels.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
Well, Bill, the work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
We're not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end.
Donald Trump blasted Kamala Harris and CBS at the time, saying, "A giant fake news scam by CBS in 60 Minutes. Her real answer was crazy or dumb, so they actually replaced it with another answer in order to save her or at least make her look better. A fake news scam, which is totally illegal. Take away the CBS license." He then sued CBS, demanding $10 billion in damages, alleging deceptive doctoring of the interview. The full interview revealed today has shed more light on the bizarre story, highlighting Kamala Harris's famous word salads.
Of the future, what we can do to maintain America's strength in the global context.
That's why you want to run. That's why you want to be.
That's why I'm running.
president.
That and some other reason.
Harris also scolded a staffer mid-interview.
Anniversary of the Hamas attack on Israel.
October 7th.
So let's just start with Israel.
Yeah. Sorry, we got some in the background. I'm afraid you're going to have to re-ask that.
Okay, whoever's in the dining room. Okay.
There was also a bizarre part at the end of the interview where Kamala Harris was asked to repeat a question, but instead she sat there nodding uncomfortably.
Madam Vice President, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Bill. Good to be with you.
Oh, if we just get just a little bit of a question, please, so I can get from the shoulder shot.
Yeah. You be talking?
Yes, sir.
Well, we were talking about how you're going to pay for it, and I mean, I truly do mean it. Your plans are logical, make logical sense. The way Washington works is not logical. So, how are you going to convince a divided Congress that what you say, your plans, are something that they should all agree to and provide to the American people when they've shown no inclination to do that up to this point?
Is that what you needed?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. 30 seconds of silence, please, for each other.
Oh, well.
And this commentator made a side-by-side comparison of an edited and unedited answer, which shows the true extent of the distortion.
Would you meet with President Vladimir Putin to negotiate a solution to the war in Ukraine?
Not bilaterally without Ukraine. No. Ukraine must have a say in the future of Ukraine.
As president, would you support the effort to expand NATO to include Ukraine?
Those are all issues that we will deal with if and when it arrives at that point. Right now, we are supporting Ukraine's ability to defend itself against Russia's unprovoked aggression. Donald Trump, if he were president, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv right now. He talks about, he can end it on day one. You know what that is? It's about surrender.
Would you meet with President Vladimir Putin to negotiate a solution to the war in Ukraine?
Not bilaterally without Ukraine. No. Ukraine must have a say in the future of Ukraine.
How about, as president, would you support the effort to expand NATO to include Ukraine?
Those are all issues that we will deal with if and when it arrives at that point. Right now, we are supporting Ukraine's ability to defend itself against Russia's unprovoked aggression and doing what we can to continue to build and strengthen the alliance around the support for Ukraine's right to be an independent nation, free from having its borders forcefully taken by Russia. And we are going to continue to work closely with our NATO allies to continue to reinforce America's alliance in the context of NATO.
Let me know what you think about that in the comments. Make sure you like the video, repost, follow for more. Do the things right there.
Thoughts?
The word salad is awful, but I did notice that they got the sir ma'am thing going on. Wow. Well, wouldn't that be an exposure, wouldn't it? But wouldn't surprise any of us now, would it? So, yeah, regardless, neither here nor there, they perpetuated a fraud against the people of the United States to prop up somebody who really doesn't have the mental acuity to be president of the United States. It's just unreasonable and really kind of a traitorous, treasonous kind of move. So
Yeah.
good luck with that one, press. I'm sure that that's not going to work out well for any of you because you really were lying to the people. I'm glad that this information's coming out. And again, it's all exposure. Let's see. Now, Mike brought this up, and it's something that we haven't talked about here in a long time. He says most people that have been asleep are now awake, that now they are waking up the dead. Okay, so we understand that the Jewish community before Yeshua, Jesus was born, that they expected a warrior to come in to be the Messiah. We believe that Jesus Yeshua, however you want to say it, is the Messiah. He is the one that God sent, that is one and only Son. So because people misunderstood what the Messiah was supposed to be,
Right.
means that we could be misunderstanding what a lot of these things are talking about, like in Revelations, where they say that the dead will rise. I think that the dead are rising, especially there's evidence given within the words of Jesus himself when he said, "Let the dead bury their dead." So he was talking about people who were living and breathing, burying somebody who had physically died, saying that the dead were going to bury the dead. So if the dead rise, it could very easily mean, and I believe in my own heart, that we do misunderstand a lot of the signs and symbols that are told to us in the Bible. But I do believe that the dead spoken of that will rise are actually the people who are going to finally wake up. And they're going to see the truth. And it's kind of hinted at in many locations in the Bible, specifically by Jesus himself. So it is something worth considering that the dead are rising as we speak. It's just not the skeletons that we thought were going to pop up out of the ground and do the Michael Jackson Thriller thing all over the place. I don't believe that's what it was ever supposed to be. I think it was that everybody was going to finally wake up and understand what's important in life. And I'm seeing evidence of that as more and more people turn to God every single day, and he becomes a more normalized part of everyday conversation. I do believe that we are in what was called end times, but I think it's an end of the times that were, as we're going into a golden age, which will be the times that will be.
Yes.
F. Clint says, in conclusion, Kay's punishing us for some unknown reason. Possibly. Wendy says, be kind, rewind. Oh, wait, wrong slogan. Please hit that thumbs up and thank you. Yes, thank you for hitting that thumbs up. It's truly appreciated.
Yes, very much so.
All right.
You ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Let's listen.
Because you think God is programmed that every time you need him, he comes through. But sometimes God will never take you out of what he can develop you in. And the culture got you so ashamed that you feel like if you can't brag about what God did, you ain't got a testimony. Well, I'm getting free today. I've lived in some seasons of my life where water was cut off, lights cut off. Me and my girl had to live at an extended stay, cars getting repossessed, folk laughing at me. No friends would answer the phone, but I've never seen the righteous forsaken. If you done ever went through something and it felt like God wouldn't show up, but God held you down, you ought to jump up and shout, yes!
God.
I feel that way so many times because I know that I felt like God was keeping me down. And I got so mad and I blamed God for so much, not recognizing who he really wanted me to be all along. And I just wasn't paying attention. But I couldn't get there. And so now I rejoice. I consider it at all joy because I know that that means that growth is coming whenever I'm challenged with anything in life. And it can be anything. I'm telling you, every single day there's some kind of a challenge, and he knows me better than I know myself. And he's trying to show me that this shouldn't bother me, that I should be able to do something that I'm not doing. And that's what I need to make sure that I am doing my part. And I can only do my part by recognizing that even the bad things that happen in my life are a blessing because he's saying he loves me enough that he wants me to be better than what I have been. And if you're going through a rough patch in life, and you can probably see this in your own life, how much your life has improved as you've turned closer to God and started following that path the way that you are supposed to. And you know deep down in your heart that you should be following God the way that you are as things get better. And that's another thing that makes it a blessing because those curses, I guess, I can't think of the word right now. But when things are bad, it is to make us better and it is to bring us closer to him. And what more could we ask for than a close relationship with our Creator? It's all about how we perceive things and how we go about dealing with it.
Yes, absolutely.
Consider it all joy.
Consider it all joy. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Let's listen.
Sometimes what you're going through, it feels like the end. it is a valley. But one thing you got to remember about a valley, the only way there can be a valley is that there is a mountain on either side of it. That is the very essence of a valley. So the thing that you're going through right now in your life, while the enemy would love to use it as evidence that God has left you, it is actually the evidence that God has something ahead of you. In the meantime, we must believe God in the shadows to be who he told us he was in the light. Whether it's the worst news of your life, or whether it's a setback that you're facing and you're trying to decide, is this just how it is? Or is there something that God would say that would change it? There is an opportunity for you by faith in this moment. Should you choose to receive it, and should you choose to enter into it, to take the situation as it has been presented to you and bring it before the Lord for further consideration.
Thoughts?
We should bring everything to the Lord for his consideration. It's an exercise. It's a practice. And we have to remember that our relationship with our Creator is, in fact, a practice. And we have to practice at it every day. And the more we practice at anything, we know that we get better at it. So make sure you're doing that practice. Make sure that you're bringing everything to God and listening for the answer. And no, I have yet to see a bush on fire that starts talking to me. That would make things so much easier. I'm sure all of us would feel the same way. Oh, look, it's a bush on fire that's talking. Maybe I should listen to this. But that's not how it works for us, at least not in this age. And if anybody has that happen, they're probably going to lead us to something. But the closest we have at this point in time, based off of what I can see with my own eyes, is that President Trump is that guy for us. So make sure that you're doing the practice of listening and to bring everything to him. And make sure that we're not just focusing on the negative. Make sure you're bringing the good to God too, and giving that thanks and appreciation for the good things that happen in your life. Again, consider it all joy, because it's all an opportunity for us to be so much more than we ever thought we could be.
Mm-hmm.
Steph says, I haven't had a donkey talk to me either. Yeah, neither have I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty awesome, though.
Donkey.
Donkey. You ready?
Yeah.
Let's listen.
All right.
In Japan, there's a word, Kinsugi. It means golden joinery. When something breaks, they repair it with gold, not to hide the cracks, but to make them beautiful. What if your brokenness worked the same way? We're taught to hide the parts of ourselves that feel shattered, to smile through the pain, pretend we're fine, and keep the world from seeing the mess inside. But what if I told you the cracks aren't flaws? They're proof that you've lived. Every scar you carry is a chapter in your story. That heartbreak you thought you'd never recover from. It taught you how to love deeper. That failure that made you feel like giving up. It pushed you to try again. And those quiet nights when the world felt impossibly heavy, they showed you your own strength. Like Kinsugi, your beauty doesn't come from perfection. It comes from resilience. The cracks, the scars, the messiness of your life, that's where the light gets in. Stop trying to erase your past. Stop wishing you could start over. Those cracks don't ruin you. They define you. You're not broken. You're becoming whole in ways you never imagined.
All right, honey.
All right. So Kinsugi, and this is a prime example of what it is. It's taking something that was broken and making it beautiful for the very real experience that this has gone through. And whatever the case is, in this bowl that has the gold highlighting it's being put back together, is something that is so lost on us in this day and age as we live in a very disposable world. Everything's disposable. Cars are disposable. Houses are disposable. They're not even built to last the term of a freaking mortgage, right? We need to stop living a disposable way and understanding the beauty of everything that we have. And we can't understand the beauty if we don't appreciate what we have. And we sometimes learn what the appreciation that we have for anything that's in our life once there's been a challenge to it. I can tell you that I didn't understand the beauty of the woman that's sitting right in front of me, my wife. She's, she had to go through some hell, and it certainly changed the way I see life. A lot of things have changed the way I see life. And there's a lot of brokenness to me still this very day. But as I'm being put back together by the grace of God, I recognize that all of those parts that were broken of me, as they get put back together, it becomes more beautiful than what was there before, because I didn't have the life experience to understand that I needed to live in those 7 heavenly virtues. See, as we put ourselves back together, it becomes a lot more beautiful than it ever was. It gives us that opportunity to bring the light that God wants us to bring to this world. After all, He is the designer of everything. And so we should be appreciative of the chances to have either stuff or people or even the problems that we have in our lives, because it makes it so much more beautiful. It's like a lot of women don't like the stretch marks after giving birth because they don't have that svelte body that they once had. But that's not important. Actually, the stretch marks tell a beautiful story about the miracle of life that happens.
Mm-hmm.
And so they should be celebrated. Doesn't mean you have to show them off, but you get what I'm getting at, right?
Right.
It is beautiful. It is something that we should appreciate. And so appreciate your brokenness, and even more so, appreciate the fact that you're being put back together in a way significantly more beautiful than you ever thought possible.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thoughts?
That's one of the things when I first saw it, when you showed it to me, that was just so amazing. The fact that they're not trying to hide it, they're trying to accentuate it.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that.
There's
I
actually
absolutely love that.
a great story about corporate headquarters in Japan where a business meeting wasn't going well and somebody threw a cup and they used the Kinsugi to put it back together. And now it's highlighted. And after that incident, they used that as an opportunity, 2 different companies, to come together and create something that otherwise never could have happened.
Yeah.
Can't make an omelet if you don't break a few eggs.
That's right.
So anyways, all right, everybody. Well, I believe that brings us to a close tonight, and we do truly appreciate each and every one of you. And we thank you. We'll be back tomorrow. We're here Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X, Rumble, and pill.net.
And if you haven't already, please take a minute and give us that virtual hug. If you're over on Rumble or YouTube, hit that thumbs up. If you're over on pill.net, take that red pill. If you're over on X, smash that heart. And if you're on Facebook, you're our family. We know you love to push buttons. You have 7 choices over there. So clickety-click away.
Mm-hmm. All right, everybody. We do appreciate each and every one of you for joining us tonight. We love you all. Have a great night. Be safe. And God bless each and every one of you.